everyone, how are you today? Let's talk about sustainable transportation system. What is the definition of that? What are some main factors and indicators? What's the process of implementing sustainable transportation system in a city or an area? And at the end, we'll talk about some cities that are considered as pioneers in using and implementing this system. The definition of that: sustainable transportation is referred to any means of transportation that are green. It means they have low impacts on environment. They're environmental friendly. Some examples of sustainable transportation modes are cycling, walking, transit, carpooling, car sharing. There's some companies that rent cars to people, and green vehicles. Some vehicles they use electricity as their propulsion, as their main source of energy, and some other green technologies to move. In here we have two pictures. In lower left we have passengers kilometers of travel for 1 ton of CO2 emitted. As you could see, we have pedestrian, bicycles, and double articulated buses, regional rails, metros. They have lower CO2 emission in compared with motorcycle or private cars. And in upper right we have people per hour on 3.5 meter wide lane in city. As you could see, public transit have higher capacity. Indicators. In not just sustainable transportation, but in sustainability, the main factors and indicators are society, economy, and environment. Actually, we are trying to evaluate and solve social, economical, environmental, and climate issues. The importance of sustainable transportation. There's several benefits for that. In here I mentioned 6 of them. First of all is reducing environmental footprint by using non-motorized transportation such as cycling and walking. They have zero impacts on environment. The second one is creating less congestion. Fewer private vehicles on the road, there will be fewer traffic congestion. It's simple. The third one is saving money. Commuting via public buses and trains is cheaper than maintaining and buying gas for private vehicles. And another one is creating job. In the past, in public transportation, we needed a lot of crews on any vehicle, for example, locomotives, doorkeepers and other staff. But right now, we're moving towards smarter systems, so we don't need that much crews. We need a lot of programmers or engineers. They should program some system, for example, fail and safe system that's using in metros. Actually, we are creating new jobs. We're changing the old jobs and making new jobs. It's important. And the fifth one is improving health. Sustainable transportation could have a higher range of positive effects on people's health and well-being. And the last one is equity. I will talk about it in details in Complete Street. I will present it in the future. Sustainable transport best practices. Define what sustainable transportation means. It's more than an overall view of sustainable transportation. It's about a specific definition of that in a specific area or city. We need to ask some kind of questions. For example, do we need wider pavements, or do we need to create more bike lanes in this area, or how we could design a sustainable transportation system that is accessible and affordable for everyone, and some other questions. The second one is balance between human vehicles and the environment. It means making a dynamic balance between these three factors. Let's get back to the history of transportation. In the past, we had just walking as the main mode of transportation in the cities, and the cities were so small. Or maybe the horses. And then we have horse-drawn vehicles, for example, carriage and coaches. We had low speed of transportation, 5 or 6 kilometers per hour. And then we have some transit, for example, locomotive buses. And at the end, we had a revolution in transportation by creating and inventing automobile, and then by making a lot of highways. So people started to live around the cities in rural areas or suburbs, and people were moving from these areas to the center of the city by using the highways, by using the automobile. But then, urban planners, city planners found out that it is not working out. because it made a lot of congestion and high level of pollution. So right now planners are trying to designing a system that is intermodal balance. Different modes of transportation are working together to make the cities livable for citizens and residents, so it's important. And the next one is using time as a milestone toward our goals by setting some goals, short-term and long-term goals, to monitor and evaluate the progress. For example, in the middle of process, we find out that we're doing something wrong, so we have this chance to change our way and doing something else. And the last one is creating a framework to, guide implementation and update process. There are three factors, as I told you: economy, environment, and society. They're known as triple bottom line of sustainability. Economy means that we need to design a system that is affordable for everyone, regardless their salary. For example, it should be affordable for even low-income families. The next one is society, developing safe, secure, and accessible mobility choices for people, irrespective of gender, age, and physical abilities. And the last one is about environment, creating solutions that reduce emissions and the pollution and protect the natural habitat. And at the end, we have two cities. They are known for their sustainable transportation system. First is Zurich. Four factors that I mentioned here are making Zurich one of the most sustainable cities in the transportation system. First of all, it's easily accessible public transportation system. It's included trains, trams, and buses, with reducing fares to encourage, usage of people. It's important. And the second one is extra road spaces for pedestrians and bikers. It's just like an extra benefit for this mode of transportation. And the third one is discouraging people of using private cars, especially in populated areas, by setting some legislation policies or imposing high toll rates. And the last one is managing traffic flow by some smart systems. And the next city is Stockholm. 100% of its energy for public transportation is coming from renewable energy sources, for example, wind power, solar farms, and others. Stockholm is also a pioneer in using urban vehicle access regulation, or UVARS. It could help to reduce congestion, promote alternative transport modes, and improve air quality. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next presentation.